Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cinema Asylum podcast for a special video review on the latest film by Tim Burton, starring Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Jenna Ortega. Beetlejuice, 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 and 3, 2, 1.
The juice is loose.
Yes. Um, yeah. This film was highly anticipated, including myself. I've grown up on the original Beetlejuice. I saw it very young. I've always loved it. Yeah, did you guys grow up on the original Beetlejuice?
I didn't grow up on it. I was actually scared of it for a while.
Yeah, I first saw it. I first saw clips of it. I had a Scooby-Doo VHS tape. I don't know if you remember Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders.
Yes, yeah, I guess
I had the VHS of it. I watched all the time, and one of the commercials for it at the beginning had like a bunch of Warner Brothers funny like horror movies on there, like Beetlejuice, Gremlins, The Goonies. Which Goonies isn't really a horror.
Yeah, it's adventure.
Yeah, but yeah, that was the first time I saw clips of Beetlejuice. I'm like you, because when you're that, I was like 3 years old.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, oh God, what is that thing? What is that guy? He kind of looks scary. And then I was like, but even at a young age, I was actually kind of attracted to things that scared me. So I was like, Mom and Dad, I want to watch that. I was like, okay, have fun. And yeah, that's when I first watched Beetlejuice. And yeah, I've always loved the original. I've been a huge Tim Burton fan my whole life, at least the early days of Tim Burton, even back to the time of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which was his first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I would say about Beetlejuice, I watched it for the first time a couple years ago. Like I heard it many, many times on TV, and also I think I see VHS covers of it like many, many times. And I mean, this was the movie that Tim Burton actually thought that Mike Keaton would play a great Batman. And after seeing his performance in Beetlejuice, he thought, you know what, that would be a great character to play the Cape Crusader. And Michael Keaton has become not just a comedian, but a humongous star after Beetlejuice and Batman. I mean, he would go on to get Oscar-nominated roles, and Michael Keaton still.
I can't remember. I can't remember if he won for Birdman.
He didn't win Best Actor for Birdman, which I need to watch.
Birdman's great. He's so good in it.
And Michael Keaton is still by far along with Hugh Jackman and others, one of the best actors to never win an Oscar, which is such a shame because he's just an amazing actor.
Yep.
So going into this, I knew they wanted to get a sequel. Now, to give you a bit of backstory of the Beetlejuice Part 2, it was supposed to be set in like Hawaii.
Yeah,
so
Beetlejuice.
They wanted to make a Hawaiian setting.
Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian was the working title. Now, the funny thing is that Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian was never really meant to actually be made. It was mainly a thing that Tim Burton thought of as a way to stop Warner Brothers from getting them to make a sequel, because Tim Burton doesn't usually like to do sequels that much. In fact, the only sequels that I can think of are Batman Returns and is there any other like sequel that he's made?
As far as I know, it's just Batman Returns.
Yeah, I guess the Batman Returns and this are the only sequels he's directed, which is kind of funny.
Let me double check that real fast.
But Tim Burton, Tim Burton and Michael Keaton have both been talking about doing a second Beetlejuice for decades, and it just for some reason just couldn't get off the ground until a few years ago. And I think I recently read that the success of Wednesday and Jenna Ortega's like breakout stardom from that show was what kind of pushed Tim Burton and Michael Keaton to really get into the development process in Beetlejuice 2, and that's where it actually came into being, and they got it done, and now it is in theaters finally. So yeah, huge fan of Michael Keaton as this character. I mean, probably more than Batman, I'd say this is probably his best character performance. He's ever given.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with that.
I mean, my God, like when I was a kid, I didn't realize that both Batman and Beetlejuice were played by the same person. I mean, that just blew my mind when I first learned that. Like, it was just such a crazy thing to realize when you're that young. And that just goes to prove how versatile Michael Keaton is. Just how funny he can be. Jesus Christ, that dude can be funny as hell. But yeah, was super excited for this movie. Was super excited by the trailers for it and the fact that they were going into more of that handmade and practical look that made Tim Burton such a household icon and such an auteur. Because Tim Burton, in like from the 2000s to like the late 2010s, was really falling off with a lot of people, including myself, because it just felt like he was becoming more of a name for hire than an actual like auteur who was doing really creative things. Because I think it was Planet of the Apes was 2001, was not a great step to leave on. But even after that, I still need to see Big Fish. That's a movie I still need to see.
It's good. I like it.
I'm really interested in watching that because a lot of people love it. I feel like Alice in Wonderland was the beginning of like the downward spiral for Tim Burton, just because it felt like he wasn't really being Tim Burton anymore. He was becoming like a really bland version of what he used to do, with a lot of CGI, a lot of like. It felt like his weird style was kind of wearing off, and it was becoming less. It was losing its charm, and he was becoming just because he did a lot of films for Disney during this time, including another Disney remake which was Dumbo, which, from what I understand, was a movie that kind of almost made him stop making movies because he just hated the process of it so much.
There's something funny about that. Michael Keaton did say in a recent interview that he wished he gave a better performance, which personally...
Dumbo, I heard, was awful.
Well,
I never watched it.
I liked the remake. I actually liked it, but for some
just...
reason, I have not rewatched it since I seen it at the movie theater.
I've heard it's not good
at all. I don't know what happened when I did not rewatch it. That's what happened to me with The Flash, but I digressed.
My 2 cents on the Dumbo movie is I did like it.
That's good.
It's not. It focuses way too much on the human characters.
Yeah.
And not so much on Dumbo herself. Or himself? I'm not entirely sure if Dumbo was a boy or a girl.
Dumbo's a him, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
But it doesn't focus enough on that. It's literally just about like this this horse wrangler circus performer's family. That's all it really is. It's not even really about Dumbo.
And
so that's kind of where it loses.
And it was a Batman Returns reunion movie as well.
I mean,
Even
Danny DeVito.
And that's the only thing that the circus thing, because that's something that Tim Burton's used a lot of his movies. He almost has a circus trilogy of Batman Returns, Big Fish, and Dumbo, which all feature Danny DeVito in that kind of role.
About that.
Tim, we need somebody with the top hat. I know exactly who to call.
Yeah, exactly. But I never saw Dumbo, and a lot of people didn't because it did not do very well with critics or audiences, and it didn't make much money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, other than that circus thing, looking at Dumbo, I just don't see Tim Burton at all.
No,
from the look of it, like it just doesn't feel Tim Burton to me.
It doesn't. No, admittedly, it doesn't. There are like a few like set pieces where you can see him shining through, but the rest of it is just like a corporate movie, basically.
Yeah, and same thing with like Planet of the Apes too. Is like that's probably the least Tim Burton I see in any of his movies is Planet of the Apes.
Agreed.
The remake. It was like even as a kid, as a Tim Burton fan, I could always tell when they were by the same guy that
Yeah.
was Tim Burton. Like from Beetlejuice to Pee-wee's Big Adventure to Batman to some of his Edward Scissorhands. Like I could always tell that it was the same dude behind it. And then you watch something like Planet of the Apes, which I watched at a young age too, and was like, oh really? The same guy did all those, made that? I was like, I couldn't fucking tell.
Yeah, it was complete shock.
Yeah, so I am. So going into this, I had that fear. Was like, okay, this could be Tim Burton's chance to get back into what he does best, which was get really creative, embrace that handmade feel with like stop motion and all that, and actual practical effects on set. And I also had that feeling was like he could probably just do the same thing that he's been doing for the past decade. It was like keep doing, like do it with less passion behind it. And honestly, coming out of this film with a few problems I have with it, I had a blast watching this movie in the theater. And overall, Tim Burton, I think, really did come back to play in this film, in my opinion.
No, I fully agree. I completely see what you're saying there. Honestly, I should we just give are we just giving our general thoughts on Beetlejuice 2 right now? Okay. I think I completely agree with what you're saying. I think that both Tim Burton and why did his name completely vanish from my mind?
Who are you thinking? Michael Keaton?
Yes.
Or...
Yeah. I was just seeing the letter like K in my mind when I was trying to remember. Yeah. Both Michael Keaton and Tim Burton kind of just like stepped back into place with this one, in my opinion.
Michael Keaton especially, like,
yes.
Good God, his performance, like he did. I've been saying this like ever since the trailer came out. I was like, he just stepped back into this character without any trouble.
Yeah, he didn't miss a day.
Oh my God! Like,
well, I mean, his
performance is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was his Matt Damon toilet paper talk for the past 35 years.
Yeah.
Like it was like the one thing where it's like if you don't know what to talk to him about, this is what you bring up. Like ask him what his idea about a sequel is, and he would go for hours about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's to be expected that he would want to that one he would be willing to jump back into it, but two, be able to jump into it without missing a day.
And especially at his age, because he's a lot older now.
Yeah, he's what, like
when he was
something?
in the first film.
He's in his like 60s now or something.
He's
right?
he's in his 70s now.
70s? Huh.
And to be moving like
60s.
this in this movie at his age is
yeah,
incredible.
Yeah.
And even in The Flash, he still had quite a bit of energy to him when he played Batman again. So
I feel like he's just like storing it at this point in his career. He's just like, it'll come out when it comes out.
Yeah.
No, I really like this. I thought it was really good.
It's been a while. I don't think I've had other than Deadpool. It's been a while that I've had just a strictly fun comedy experience in a theater. And yeah, I think my audience had a great time watching this.
Man, I always get the quiet theaters except for when I want the quiet theaters. I don't know why.
No, my theater was cackling at several moments. Every moment when Keaton's on screen.
Man, I need to go to your movie theater with you and see what that's like.
Yeah, I just
invite me next time.
I feel like a doofus like every time I go to see it because like I laugh audibly. Like obviously I keep it hush.
Did you go to an AMC theater?
Yeah, I went to AMC.
Huh.
Yeah, well first of all it wasn't super packed. But
My
just
theater
in
was
general,
packed.
we had a couple jokes. There were a couple jokes that got everybody, and like everybody laughed. You could hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it was like completely silent. It was so fucking weird. Like I could hear a couple people throughout, like along the back row, that would like chuckle. That was it. I was like, do you guys just not laugh at shit? Like I don't.
Yeah, I had a great experience with this. One of my Tim Burton and Danny Elfman, when those two get together, they can create just magic.
Yes. Yes.
Danny Elfman's score for Beetlejuice is, in my opinion, one of his absolute best.
Agreed.
Just the energy that score has, especially the opening. Oh my God, what in the opening credits for this when they started, and that iconic theme comes up with the titles in the same way that the original Beetlejuice opened up with. Me and I saw this with a group of friends, and our foots were tapping with that da 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 da. Yeah, we just love that theme, and the updated theme for this sounded so great. Danny Elfman's also kind of had a weird slug for the past couple decades, like because he like every time Danny Elfman did a score in like the 80s or the 90s. He just brought it. And for some reason, like in the past couple decades, his scores just haven't been that great. Looking at you, Justice League.
Multiverse of Madness as well. He was hardly recognizable there.
Yeah, there's a few pretty good tracks in Multiverse of Madness, but not many.
Like the music fight, the Bach versus Mozart one, I feel like is one where like his creativity came into play.
Yeah.
It wasn't loud and boisterous like what we're kind of talking about.
But not many moments. Like,
no, like that was kind of just it.
Most of it was pretty just run of the mill.
Yeah.
And even when he did, he was also did the music, co-wrote some of the music for Age of Ultron, which compared to Alan Silvestri, that's part of the reason why I just don't like Age of Ultron that much compared to the other Avengers movies, is just because the music just isn't really there. And when Alan Silvestri does the music for Avengers, it just amplifies everything.
Yeah.
With Ultron, just the music just isn't really there for me.
Yeah, it just doesn't really do a whole
And the
lot.
musical score, for any film, I think is just so important. So yeah, the music for this movie, though, I think for the most part, just really great. Danny Elfman really came back for this and did a great job with it.
Yeah, hot take, but I actually prefer the soundtrack in this one versus the original.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, but there, a lot of the tracks in this, like the softer ones, actually reminded me of the Raimi trilogy, of the Spider-Man trilogy. Like not the more bombastic themes, but some of the softer character-driven scenes kind of sounded like that.
I felt that. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like especially when, we'll talk specifics later.
Yeah.
But like when they're like one of the attic scenes.
Yeah.
No, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
But yeah, I think my problems with the movie are what a lot of critics are saying, is that a lot of it just feels like it's a little bit too overstuffed with plot.
Yes.
A lot of it gets very little setup, and it feels like it gets wrapped up super quickly. And one of those plot points, for me anyway, that was the most distracting was Monica Bellucci, who I love Monica Bellucci and I love looking at her. Good God, but I feel like she didn't even really need to be in this movie.
I don't think so.
And maybe that's part of the point, like where maybe that's part of the thing, because I've seen a lot of comedies do this, where something gets a lot of attention in the setup and then it just gets wrapped up super quickly. I've seen that work in some comedies, like one of my favorites is Blues Brothers, where there's just so much shit happening and it just goes insane.
Yeah.
But for me, it didn't really work that way in this film. Some of it I just felt could have been wrapped up tightly, or some of it just could have been cut.
It just felt like a lot of it didn't have like a bow on it, and that's kind of what it really needed. Yeah.
And it's not like this has bad writers behind it.
No.
But this has some. This has the same writers of Wednesday behind it, who I know can do really great. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they just thought they just had so many great ideas that they could put them all together, and for me anyway, just didn't really work that well.
Yeah, it's hard for me to talk about that because I want to go into the specifics about it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm right there with you. I think like one comment that I would make is crap. It like just vanished from my head. I'm sorry.
Well, we can go into it more in spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can go and get my thoughts on on the sequel.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So, going into this movie, I'm going to be the big elephant in the room. I didn't care for the original, honestly. I thought it was just okay. The movie got overhyped for me, honestly.
Okay.
Which I I thought the story for me was kind of a mess, honestly.
In the
and-
original?
The original?
In the original, yeah, I didn't care for the story. I couldn't tell you what was going on in the original when I was watching it the
I mean,
first time.
to be fair, the original has a lot going on too.
Yeah.
And I heard that Beetlejuice, he showed up like only 20 minutes throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
And the
what
same thing
frick?
here too.
Well,
He
I
was
can-
present all throughout here.
Well,
Yeah.
Like
Michael
there was still a lot more towards most of the other characters,
yeah.
but
That's the thing that Mike Keaton and Burton both agreed on. I was like, we can't overplay Beetlejuice in this. Like, we still have to like give the other characters room to breathe and shine, so
Yeah.
that Beetlejuice in his scenes can steal the show.
yeah, he was like nuzzling right up to that line. I feel.
Yeah,
Right.
and I feel like Beetlejuice was in this movie just enough for me.
Yeah.
But there were a few funny moments in the first movie that I will admit it did make me laugh, and I also like that music theme. And Kumbaya, come the boom,
Oh, the day.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that's one of the most iconic scenes in the movie, and
Mhm.
it is definitely it is definitely very funny stuff. But I was just thinking to myself, yeah, that it just wasn't my thing. I mean, Tim Burton, I have an up and down relationship with this guy. I
Okay.
mean, he'll direct things that I'll say, yep, that's definitely my type of film, and there are others will be like, not so much.
What are some of your lesser movies of his, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I agree.
I respected it more than I actually say I enjoyed it. It felt like a music video, like whenever music.
I think it's-
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
I think I know where you're going for there. Like it would like display on MTV
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
I think that remake tried to be a little too different from the original, where to the point where like
Yeah. See,
it
that's
felt
the thing.
unnecessary.
they were going for visuals more than
Yeah.
anything.
See, that's the thing. And Dylan looked at me in the straight face when I said to him, I thought it was a straight up sequel.
Yeah.
But I,
Yeah.
but I had no
yeah.
idea that it was a remake until like the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. I was like, oh wait, this is not a sequel. So it was very weird. My brain was all over the place.
That's one of the best interrogations we've ever had on the podcast.
I know.
Was me trying to
I know.
trying
And now
to
I
figure
know
that
it's
out
and
from
now
you.
I know it's a remake. So I apologize, Tim
Jeez,
Burton fans.
okay.
I am so sorry. So anyway, so my expectations was hoping that I would like it more, at least a little bit more than the original. That was my
Okay.
expectation. I thought to myself, okay, if the movie is it's at least pretty good and I like it better than the original, I'll be satisfied. I kind of love this movie.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think my problem with the original, I think it was a little too creepy for me. This one, I was not as creeped out as this one as it was in the original.
Mm.
Really?
Yeah, because honestly, the visuals, it was shocking, really nice. Because I was not as freaked out. Now, there were a couple of the killing scenes I thought was a little too much, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Mm.
But man, I was really having a good time. Probably because I love these characters more in this one than I actually did with the original. I mean, when you got Jenna Ortega, like, she's the best at what she does.
I
and-
feel like I read a track today after this. First of all, this movie did insanely well this weekend.
It did. I did
This
look it
made
up,
like
yeah.
$110 million,
Yeah,
and it's
140 million
right under
worldwide
the
so far,
first
yeah.
It movie. It's right under it. It's second highest grossing opening weekend in September history, which good for them. I think the marketing for this film is fantastic. The way
Yeah.
they've marketed this movie is just they've used Michael Keaton to his best ability. Like if you go to the Warner Brothers Instagram, you'll just see a bunch of reels with him in it, and they're pretty funny.
But yeah, but the reason why I I'm sorry, go ahead.
There was a survey done, and they found out that like 25% of the audience for this film wanted to see this movie, or 25% of a part of the audience went to see this movie strictly for Jenna Ortega and Winona Ryder together. So I guess Jenna Ortega, I feel like, was one of the big selling points of the film.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And I thought her performance, I thought she was outstanding.
Yeah, she was really good.
Yeah, I thought she was absolutely fantastic in this movie. I thought the rest of the characters was extremely fun, but Michael Keaton, like I said, man, he steals the show. I mean, Michael Keaton is just wonderful. Whatever film he does, he is just so great as an actor, and I still can't believe he's still killing it, even when he's still up in his age. But yet yet I'm still waiting for him to get his Oscar someday, which I hope he does soon.
Mm-hmm.
He probably won't get it for this one.
No.
But I like this Beetlejuice a lot more in this movie because there was a lot more of him in this one. There's a very funny cameo, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yep.
I gotta say, another character I really liked is William Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Well, yeah, he is great in this.
He is.
He's
Which-
clearly having a ball in this
Which
movie.
my head told me, and guys, think about this. Which I personally think you think yourself that I can kind of see it, which I hope it does. So I hope I don't screw myself up for this. He kind of looks like an older version of Two-Face.
A little bit.
No, I could see
In
it.
the makeup,
you know,
yeah.
I could, yeah.
Because I'm thinking if he was like younger, I think he would be a great Two-Face, like in another Batman movie.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
everyone's wanted him as the Joker. Like,
That would have been great too.
good God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Well,
but
he
William
can't play it.
Dafoe,
He
yeah.
can't really play it because he
Yeah.
played Green Goblin.
But he
Yeah.
was very entertaining. I really enjoyed him in this movie. He was very fun to watch. I mean, William Dafoe, he's fantastic as usual.
Basically playing like a 50s B movie actor who's trying so hard to be a cop, and he's trying way too hard. And
Yeah.
one of the fun. Not to spoil anything, but like one of the funnier gags in the film is when like he's in his office and he constantly has his secretary bringing in cups of coffee, and he keeps throwing them in the trash can super dramatically, and it cuts to like the trash can. It's like full of just cups of coffee.
Yeah.
But William Dafoe, he was very fun. Seeing Winona Ryder again in this movie, she's
great.
I really enjoyed her in this movie. Visually, as I talked about this before, it is no doubt a gorgeous looking movie.
Yeah,
he does so well with the visuals on stuff, whether it's your type of director or not. I gotta say, I really love the design of the Beetlejuice's coworkers that he.
Oh, the shrunken head.
Yeah.
Bob.
I
But
gotta
great.
say,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Greatest character of the year, Bob.
Yes.
We gotta
Bob
talk
is
about
great.
Bob.
Gotta get the
Yes.
Bob lovin'. Yeah.
I mean, I love these. I love those character design.
All the effects in this movie are fantastic. Like
Yeah.
when I heard that they were really gonna embrace the handmade stuff, like
Yeah.
I was like, please try not to incorporate too much CGI, and they really don't. Like
No.
I can only think of maybe a couple times where it's clear that they used a little CG, but like for the rest of it, like it was like either stop motion, puppets, or kind of a mixture of both. But yeah, I think all of it looked great. Those characters look great.
I thought the mix of live action and stop motion was executed.
Sandworms look great
Yeah,
again.
that was
It looks amazing,
That was
yeah.
a great scene, and I know people would probably be a little bit freaked out by the stop motion snake.
Oh God, in the original,
I
that was one of the
freaked out by it surprisingly.
in the
which
original-
I was very surprised by that.
in the original, one of the scariest parts of that original movie is the Beetlejuice snake. That when I was a
Yeah.
kid, that scared the shit out of me.
No, okay, so okay, you just reminded me. That was something that I was going to mention earlier. You asked about if we grew up with it, and I said that like I was scared of it. The reason why I was scared of it was because of the fucking snake.
Yeah.
Because
Understandable.
I always saw the poster of the movie growing up. I didn't know what it was about or
Yeah.
anything like that. I never watched any trailers or anything.
Mhm.
Well, come 2008, I got for my birthday in 2008. I was gifted the Speed Racer movie that came out with Neil Hirsch,
Yeah.
and I was gifted it twice. Once by my mom, once by my dad to have at both houses, and it has a trailer for the anniversary of Beetlejuice for the 20th anniversary, and that's one of the very final clips that it shows is the snakehead like
We've come for your daughter, Chuck.
yeah, it's just like it like pops out along the floor and shit. Yeah. It
It's-
scared the bejesus out of
Tim
me.
Tim Burton's early movies have a lot of terrifying imagery. Like,
Yes, yeah.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the Large Marge scene. Oh my God, childhood nightmares
Yeah.
from that.
Mars Attacks gets me really bad with the.
Mars Attacks never scared me.
Well, it was just more the idea of the separate body parts and like being dissected
True,
and shit like
true.
that. Like that's what got
That
me
can be
from
freaky.
that movie. It's the only reason why I refuse to rewatch it.
Batman had a few scary moments for me. Oh, in the ending where the Joker's dead on the ground.
Okay.
That always creeped me out as a kid.
Okay, I get you there,
That
yeah.
always scared me. And This movie doesn't really have that. Now, this movie is more of a comedy than the original is, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, same.
I feel like
Yeah.
most people watch Beetlejuice for the comedic moments.
Yeah, it's like a dark comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does have a few, which we'll talk about in the spoilers. This movie does have a few pretty creepy kill sequences.
It does.
But
yeah.
but yeah,
But yeah, it didn't bother me that much, and we'll also get to the funny moments later that also got me laughing when we get to.
there's a
when
lot.
When we get to the third act, where there is like the climax. We'll get to that in a moment. but I was enjoying that one. I thought that was just hilarious. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed this movie because, like I said, this is what happens where I don't know what is happening to me. Every single time I said I like the sequel more than the original when I didn't care for the original. Like, I did the same thing with the Christmas Story. Now with this one, it's so weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He prefers the sequel.
The newer Christmas Story.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Garrett, there's like
I
a
don't
full
know.
conversation
my,
that you're missing
my,
out
my
on.
humor, the humor
Okay.
is very different for me. I don't know why, because I always think I'm going to like these movies, but when I didn't like them, I always get to the point and say, well, that got overhyped.
Even if
So-
now, you guys, I don't know if you guys, I know Matthew hasn't. You guys need to watch Gladiator for the new one that's coming out.
Yeah, I'm going
Even
to,
if
yeah.
Gladiator 2 is awful, like it's trash, I feel like you're still gonna say you liked it more than the original.
I can see that.
The
Yeah.
original is one of my favorite movies. So.
What the thing is, and not to go off track, but the 2000, it was probably the weakest year of film because there were not a lot of great movies that came out in 2000. Like, sure, there was the
Gladiators,
Groove, which it was great.
There was Dinosaur.
There were dinosaurs.
Castaway. You're gonna forget
Oh,
Castaway.
I love Castaway. Castaway's amazing.
I always thought
But-
that Castaway was
and
2001.
Gladiator. Which
But,
one? Best
but
Picture.
I feel like the 90s have like the best decades of film, at least for me
True.
anyway.
I
But
feel you.
that's a story for another day. But overall, I surprisingly really enjoyed it, and I wouldn't mind rewatching the sequel again, like around Halloween time. So I surprisingly kind of loved it.
Yeah, this is a perfect way to start off the Halloween season. Like this movie,
true.
there's so much Halloween stuff in this. Yeah,
It literally takes
I
place
really
3 days
enjoyed it.
before.
Yeah. We'll get our overall scores later after we get to the spoilers.
I'm gonna give my score now.
Okay,
just
sure.
To get it out of the
Sure.
way.
Go for it.
Yeah, aside from my problem with the story and plot feeling rushed, and some things probably needing to be cut, I still had a really great time watching it. It gave me pretty much exactly what I wanted from a Beetlejuice sequel now. I feel like the cast and crew did a really great job coming back. It was nice seeing Tim Burton embrace what made him so great in the first place. This movie actually has color in it, which is something I haven't said for the past few Tim Burton movies since Alice in Wonderland. And I feel like, yeah, his thing is like black and white, but like I feel like he really, in his early days, really did such a great job with color choice. And I feel like he brought that back with this movie. So yeah, I had a really fun time watching it. It's not, I wouldn't say it's great, but I think it's a really enjoyable sequel, and it's a really fun Halloween movie in its own way. So I'm gonna give this out of 5 a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I gave the original probably a 6 out of 10, I think. The sequel, it got up to 9.5. Because I love the humor that much. I thought it was very funny. And also the visuals of Tim Burton. See, this is my type of movie that I like to see when it comes to Tim Burton. Not too much creepiness, just great visuals and a story that I'm interested in. And it worked for me. I enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I'm actually not gonna give my review yet, or my rating yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stick around for the rest of it.
All
Then
right.
you'll get mine.
All right, so
Work for
going
it.
into-
So let's
this
get
is
into the spoilers.
spoiler warning for Beetlejuice in 3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
First off, but the first thing I want to bring up is how Jeffrey Jones is not in this movie, but he still kind of is.
yeah.
Now, if
yeah.
you don't know, Jeffrey Jones, who's played the Charles in the original, and
Yeah, Dad.
you might remember him as the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's right.
He
yeah.
if you didn't know, he's a I don't know if he's convicted, but he is a
There's
child
at least been allegations.
He's a child predator.
Yes.
And he's disgusting.
Yeah.
So he did not return for this movie, but he is still kind of in it. The character is anyway, and they show a flashback of him, and this was
It's all
one of my
claymation.
It's
yeah.
all claymation, which was great.
I
love
well,
claymation.
That's an interesting way to have
And
that.
what caught a lot of people off guard in the trailer was there was a shot of the plane going down into the ocean, and everyone thought it was like, oh, that's just terrible CG. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's stop motion.
Yeah.
It's like, and yeah, when you see it in the movie, it's obviously, it's claymation, and in my opinion, it looked great.
I thought that did too.
I love Tim Burton animation like that.
I just like that.
I think I got used to that. Yeah.
I just like that it was a different kind of animation versus what was used on like Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride.
It kind of looked like Frankenweenie a little bit to me, and how that was kind of done.
I can see what you're going for with for there, because this kind of had a the Frankenweenie was a little more realistic in certain aspects of it. So I totally see where you're coming from there. I actually knew to expect something like this, and not so much because of the and not so much because of the stuff against him, but more just like I saw somebody talking about it on Twitter yesterday. I saw it last night at like 11 o'clock. But I saw something on Twitter earlier yesterday where people were like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to go see it because of like this," or
because they think he's in it.
Yeah, they thought that he was going to be in it, and people were like, "You have to watch the movie. You have to see how they deal with this." So when it came around, I was like, "This
it's really smart how they do it.
It is
like have him in it, but not have it be him.
Yes,
it's really smart.
Well, I even come to credits afterwards because he still has we haven't explicitly said what happened to him. He gets his head bit off by a fucking shark after the plane crashes in the ocean.
He's like on an expedition, and his plane crashes,
and
he gets just when he thinks he's about to make it out, he gets eaten by like the top half of his body is eaten by a shark. And one of my favorite visual gags in the movie is his grave, and I didn't realize that it was a shark fin. And
I didn't realize that toward the end.
My friends didn't even realize it either. I was like, and I'm snickering, and they look at me. I was like, dude, the gravestone's a shark fin, and then they look at it again. It's like, oh shit! I love that.
Yeah, it took like 2 or 3 more shots of it for it to click for me.
Yeah, it's so funny. And then throughout the rest of the movie, he's in it, but he's just a bunch of like legs walking, and he's speaking. But I wonder who is?
Yeah. I come to credits. There's nobody listed in the credits. Officially, there's nobody credited for the voice of Charles Dietz.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly who it might have been. My guess would be Tim Burton himself.
Maybe. It can be anyone, really.
Yeah, because he's always like slipped himself into like the little niche areas of it and not been credited.
Right.
But no, the way that they handle that, and like the fact that that's what they did with this character for the rest of the fucking movie, was him just wandering around the underworld just like a tourist, was super hilarious.
And I don't know if anyone else, like, at first I'm like, okay, it's cutting back to that thing a lot. I was like, and my brain didn't even process it really as him. I thought it was just another ghost or something. And then at the end when the mom, Catherine O'Hara, what's her name? When Catherine O'Hara goes back to the Soul Train.
Yeah, I like the Soul Train bit a lot too.
Soul Train.
Yeah, and she goes to the Soul Train, and Charles is about to get on, and there's Catherine O'Hara sees and is like, Charles, and then my brain put it back together. It's like, oh, okay, that's him. I don't know if that was just me being stupid, but it caught me up.
To be fair, she was stupider as a character.
Yeah,
because they were in the same fucking waiting room at the same time.
I know. Well, that character has always been kind of like just an egocentric idiot
Yeah,
since
yeah,
the original.
yeah.
And that's kind of been her thing. Catherine O'Hara is really great in this.
She is,
She has a
she
lot
is.
of great lines in this. I love Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, she's another one that really like brought it back with this. Yeah.
Had so much fun in it. What else was I been? Let's talk about Bob.
I
poor
love
Bob.
He was so great.
Bob,
he is
Bob was a good soul.
he is the same one from the waiting room at the end of the first one, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I feel like it is because I feel like that would be Beetlejuice's like first actual friend there. You know.
And
doesn't speak.
also,
All he
Yeah.
does
how
is
did
go
Beetlejuice? And at the end of Beetlejuice, the original, like Beetlejuice gets his head shrunken by the witch doctor or whatever. I wonder how he got his head unshrunken. How that
Lord
whole thing
knows.
went.
It's
Who knows?
Beetlejuice,
Exactly.
Exactly.
He probably snapped his fingers at some point. And was
Yeah.
like, oh, I can just do this.
Oh, I can just do this.
yeah.
But no, he's got a whole office of working shrunken heads, and his if you remember in Batman is you are my number one guy because
Yeah,
Bob
no, I
is his
get you,
number
yeah.
one, the Joker's henchman. Bob is a good man. Dresses up like his boss to get the supernatural law off Beetlejuice's back, and unfortunately,
to
to distract them.
What's her name? Yeah,
And
Dolores.
unfortunately, it didn't work because he got his soul sucked out. Oh,
Yeah.
rest in peace, Bob.
Yes.
I feel real bad for the dude. He deserved
Yeah.
better.
Bob did nothing wrong.
He would have been the great main character throughout the entire movie. Just him going like, and then see subtitles.
Yep.
Bob is the hero that we deserve.
Absolutely.
He really is.
Absolutely.
But not the one we needed, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
I got a question. Is Beetlejuice the good guy or the bad guy?
I
in
think
this
he's
one
the
he was-
villain in both these
Because
movies,
to
honestly.
me, when I
He's-
watched it twice, he's the mix of good and bad at the same
Well, he's an
time.
anti-hero. Like
Yeah, that's
he,
what I'm-
he
He's
doesn't
an
play
anti-hero
by
here. He's an antagonist in the first one.
he doesn't play like in the original. He says like I don't really have any rules. Like, and that's I feel like
true.
it's
There are no rules for
it's
Beetlejuice.
consistent. Like the dude just does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
much. And all he really wants is to marry Lydia.
Yeah, yeah.
And he still doesn't get it.
Which the marriage thing, okay, this is your typical story. You got a daughter played by Jenna Ortega. Like, it's a very typical story. She and her mom does not get along sometime, and then she doesn't believe in ghosts, and blah, 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 blah. But then she meets this cute boy.
Which
I think she meets this
was
cute
the
boy.
like I feel like something was going on with that guy. I was like, it did kind of catch me off guard. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I caught it like
that he's-
immediately. Like
See,
I had it
I
clocked
should-
on the
I
face.
should
scene.
have- I
did
should
not,
have caught
actually.
that immediately because that's the thing with Tim Burton is like whenever there's like a somewhat normal person who's not like a total loser or a total outcast, like there's usually something off or seriously wrong with him.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it turns out this teen that falls for Jenna Ortega is pretty
Actually
much
a murderer.
murderer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Killed his family.
And I should have caught that because the way they set up his family
Yes,
when
yeah.
they go into the house, it was like,
Unfortunately,
okay.
I did not got that. I do want to say, too, I love the callback from the first movie when the children's choir was saying, hey, yo. Like,
Yeah.
Day-o.
I love the callback of the funeral
And that's
scene.
in the trailer,
Yeah.
too. when-
Yeah.
And may I say, the children's choir, children, you sang beautifully.
Yeah,
in
they
that
did
movie.
really
and,
well. I
shout out
love
to
that.
Bern Gorman as the priest in this. Who
Yes, yes,
Bern
yeah.
Gorman, that
He
dude.
was
Whenever
fun.
he pops up and shit, I love him.
Yeah,
And
Torchwood.
the entire his entire dialogue whenever he's speaking to other characters is just like biblical like dialogue, and every time he speaks, like a character just goes like, "What'd you say?"
Yeah. I mean, there was one lady character that was looking at him and going, what?
that was Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah. Yeah. Which she was fun.
Hmm
Uh,
yeah,
But yeah, once she discovers that this is a dead person, Jenna Ortega completely freak out.
and the thing, Jenna
Well, she
Ortega's
doesn't
thing,
completely freak out.
Jenna Ortega's thing is that she completely does not believe in this ghost stuff, even though that her mom has basically become
I
like
still,
Yeah, she was
the
one of
host
the
of
only
a-
like
still
3
don't
normal
believe
people in
in
the family.
I
the
still don't
host of
believe
like
it.
a paranormal activity type of
But that-
TV
yeah,
show.
yeah.
yeah. But
Honestly, I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I'd watch that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, I never seen Wednesday, but I can
It's good.
feel like the Addams Family Wednesday vibe.
Oh, yeah,
when I was
totally.
watching
Yeah.
the movie, and which I'm pretty sure that was their intention.
Yeah.
Which, and I
Yeah,
appreciate
definitely.
that they did that.
Jenna Ortega, like her acting style, completely suits the type of thing that Tim
Oh my
Burton
God.
does.
And she's
Yes.
great. Like I cannot wait to see what else she does next. And
She's been doing like a shit ton.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
she's
and
been
she
super
started
busy.
off with Disney Channel already up
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
since Scream, I've been paying a lot more attention to her,
Absolutely.
and she's been killing it with with X and Wednesday, of course, and a bunch of other shit
Yeah,
that
yeah.
she's done.
I didn't know she was an ex. I did not know that.
Yeah,
Yes, she is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
She's a Scream queen.
She really,
Truly.
She is.
she really is. She's the
sadly
she's the
she
new
won't be
generation
in
of it.
Scream 7, unfortunately, which is
Damn it.
which is
Yeah, womp
disappointing.
womp.
Fuck it.
So once she discovers that the guy that she thought she was going to fall in love with turned out to be a ghost, she almost went into the Soul Train,
Mhm.
and then her mom tried to catch her from going to the Soul Train.
Yeah, because
and she needs
he's-
Beetlejuice's help.
Yeah,
Yep,
because
exactly. Yeah,
the
just for help.
yeah, because the ghost boy tricked her. He says that he knows how to help her find her dad, along
Yeah,
with
yeah.
he knows a way for him to come back.
Mhm.
And then he tricks her because he's like, oh well, you have to recite this thing before we can go into the
'Cause,
portal because you're human. And it's actually a thing that allows him to take her place in the living world, where she would end up being forced onto the Soul Train.
Yeah.
So
and
it's like swapping.
a clever bit of writing in the film is that when she goes up to his room and she sees the handbook for the
Recently
dead,
deceased.
recently deceased. I forgot that in the original that only appears to the dead. It
Yeah.
doesn't appear to the living. So I thought that was I thought that was actually very clever foreshadowing to what happens.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
And it's also good payoff to what. It also leads up to a good payoff for Jenna Ortega's character in the climax too, at the marriage scene when she obviously is a very good reader and she reads that book and then she clearly read through the whole thing, and that's how they end up defeating Beetlejuice at the end.
Yeah.
So
And then we got a great cameo of Danny DeVito,
Yeah.
which was very cool.
Goddamn
which
foreigners.
is another Batman Returns reunion, by the
Mhm.
way. Is he like Danny DeVito? He's almost like he's almost in every movie.
He is in Tim
he's
Burton's pocket.
Yeah, he's a favorite of Tim Burton.
He's like
Yeah,
the Killing
they're
Murphy
buddies.
to
They love
Christopher
each other.
Nolan.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Danny DeVito and Tim Burton, they're made for each other.
Mhm.
But
Danny DeVito has directed a lot of movies and directed a lot of really great
that's true.
movies,
That's true.
including Matilda. Yeah, you can definitely tell that in his directing style, he took a lot of inspiration from Tim Burton.
Yes, agreed.
And the other way around, Tim Burton taking from DeVito's directing style.
Yeah. So then we get into the moment where they actually they finally got to see her dad, which, by the way, her dad was pretty funny in the movie. He's got piranha fishes all over.
yeah,
him,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which it was very clever. That's the type of visual I also really like. It's something that can make me laugh, and that was very clever visual.
Mm.
But he also was a very sweet guy. You know?
Yeah,
He's
there's
very-
a really nice scene between the three.
absolutely
Lydia, what's Jenna Ortega's name again? Astrid.
Yes.
Astrid.
Thank you.
And there's a nice scene between the three of them, and we have to talk about the F-bomb in the movie when the murderer kid gets his comeuppance and
Oh yeah, that one.
It's one of my
he tries
favorite
to
line
get his
deliveries.
he tries to get his thing stamped so he could go to the he's trying to go to the great beyond, isn't he?
No, the
Or-
kid is trying to go back to the real
Yeah,
world.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
trying to go back to the real world.
And he has to
to
get that
get-
stamp in order to make the
And then-
transfer
Stamp on the
permanent.
paper.
and
Yeah.
then then it gets revealed that it says shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice did it. He's like, "See ya, fucker," and sends him right
to hell.
right
Yeah.
to hell.
And I thought to myself, okay, that's awesome.
Now I thought the trailer, because in the trailer there's a part where like Beetlejuice turns to the camera, is like, "What the." And then it bleeps him out. I was like, I thought that was gonna be. I thought that was gonna be the F-bomb in the movie, and it wasn't. It's still in the movie itself bleeps out the.
Yeah.
And I thought.
Which we'll get to the climax in a moment. So then Jenna Ortega, how do you pronounce her name?
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega. Okay. She and her mom made up, which was a really nice moment. But then when we get to the climax, that's where the fun begins.
Yep.
So then we get to this climax of the wedding in the church.
And yeah, Beetlejuice had Lydia sign the contract that she will marry him.
Yeah. And then we get ourselves a sequence which I thought was fabulous.
Yeah.
Which was the
I
musical
got a
sequence.
kick out of it.
I love the
Wait,
musical
actually,
scenes in
Beetlejuice-
this.
Now, what
They're so good.
I wasn't familiar with the song. Was this like an original song for the movie?
No, I don't believe so. No.
I
What
think it's
song?
I'm not entirely sure
I'm
what
gonna
song
look
it
it
is
up.
because I didn't recognize it either.
Now-
but just like the overall quality of it, it's not.
He actually did. This actually is not his real singing voice. He actually sang twice. He did one where Beetlejuice
Wherever you are,
that was
that
so
was one of my
funny.
favorite
Yeah.
gags when he's on the model, he's strumming away.
Yeah. But then when we get into that musical sequence where all the actors are like dancing and like doing
It's their kind of rendition of the Deo scene from the
Yeah.
original.
Which personally for me, I like this more than the original.
It goes
did.
longer. This one's
Yeah.
bigger and has more
And
production
I was
to it.
smiling
Yeah.
through the entire movie because it was just so funny. At the same time, though, I was thinking to myself, you know what? I think she
What is the
Beetlejuice would
song?
make a great couple, but I
I,
digress.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wanted Lydia and Beetlejuice to actually get together in this one. I'd be curious. I know, like in the original, there's that age gap, and today especially that wouldn't fly. But and there's still an age gap because he's like centuries
what do you got,
old.
Dyllan?
So I believe that the song is called MacArthur Park. It was released in 1968.
Oh, wait a minute. I have heard about this. Okay. Who's the artist?
Richard Harris.
Okay, I have heard about this. It's like a 7-minute long song or something.
Yeah, and that fully lines up.
Transform
It's
it down
7 minutes,
to,
26 seconds.
The 1 second there.
Okay.
But yeah,
okay.
and also I love it when there's the orchestra in the background. That was really cool when they had the
It
orchestra.
was really nice.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
And also was really funny.
Yeah.
But then when
Yep.
you get into that climax where
Everything is just colliding with each
Yeah.
other.
yeah, and then when they said the word Beetlejuice, he starts
Well,
blowing up and
yeah. First, we gotta talk about
we
how
we
Willem
skipped over a big part.
Willem Dafoe is like assembling his ghost
The Blue Squad, yeah.
And
You've been training all your deaths for this.
and he's got reading off cue cards and
It's so fucking
yes,
funny,
I
man.
love
it.
I love it.
He really was one of the best characters
Yeah,
in
He
this.
was.
the sandworms, of course, are like coming now. Like in the original, Beetlejuice is defeated by the sandworm, but in this one he does like the Toro with
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the
that was great.
He
like a
learned his
bull
lesson
does.
this time.
Yeah,
And
he
then
learned.
subtitles. Worst wedding ever.
Oh, and we forgot to talk about the other flashback, the black and white thing. Where
Yes. Yeah.
he's got the spotlight on him. And he's got the Italian dub over as he's telling the story about how he
That
and
was actually
Dolores.
kinda clever.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Which I like that Burton breaks up the flashback style from claymation to like the like classic 1940s kind of black and white thing.
Like Universal Monsters.
Yeah. Really, really well done too. And we get to see Beetlejuice when he was actually alive and cut that bitch up apparently.
Yeah.
And now she's pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the dub over thing with the subtitles, that was a really great gag.
It was. Yeah.
I forget some of the lines he said, but it was really funny. Man, I would have loved it. I know it's not Keaton, but it would have been amazing if that was actually Keaton doing that whole dub over too.
That would have been really funny.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Really funny.
But yeah, the Dolores thing is kind of the main weak point of the film, where it's like I feel like that really didn't even need to be in there.
Agreed.
As much as I love Monica Bellucci, like she's way underutilized in this.
Yes.
And I feel like, and I like Justin Theroux in this too, but I feel like that could have been tightened up more. Because Justin Theroux as Rory and Lydia, or when he proposes to Lydia at her own father's wake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So they're trying to get married while Beetlejuice is trying to get married with her. So it's kind of like, which is the thing is like, I kind of like in some other comedies where it just feels like everything is colliding with each other.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of like some 80s comedies like Christmas Vacation, where like, if you remember at the end of that movie, like the cops are breaking in and everything's kind of going nuts. I've seen that done well. I just don't think I think it could have been done better in this one. But I still had fun with it. Yeah, that's where both Rory and Dolores get defeated by the Sandworm instead of Beetlejuice this time. And now Willem Dafoe, the main thing with him, why he wants to stop Beetlejuice, is because he violated a code in the book of the...
Yeah, he illegally brought a human from the living world. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also a really good gag, honestly.
That
Them
was
entering,
really
yeah.
great. but when Willem Dafoe shows up, he tried to stop the whole thing, and
Yeah.
it's
He
pretty much,
crashes into the cake.
yeah, crashes the cake, and it's pretty much up to the mother and daughter to pretty much defeat Beetlejuice. But yeah, they said Beetlejuice multiple times, and then he starts blowing up like a balloon, and then once he starts popping, he's pretty much gone. Which I thought, well, that was a nice way to kill Beetlejuice. I said it 3 times.
He's not dead.
Well, he's already dead. It's like,
Yeah.
the best you can do is just get rid of him for the time being.
Yeah.
But judging by the ending, I'm not sure they really did, to be honest.
No,
I'll get
he's
to that.
still
I'll get
there.
to
There's
that.
no way.
Yeah, but yeah, it was really fun. So then that's where we get into the actual ending of the movie, which that's actually leads to my nitpick I actually had with the ending, which it was the dream sequence, which at first you thought it was real, like.
Now, a clever, I don't know if you caught this, the ending music of this this little montage that they do with Lydia, reconciling and being her and Astrid getting along better, them going to Castle Dracula, which I didn't know was a real place.
Yeah, Bram Stoker's castle.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that.
Interesting.
So Astrid getting married, having a kid. I don't know if you realize this. That was the main musical theme from the original Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you caught
No,
that.
no,
Okay.
I caught it. Yeah.
Now I caught that and was like, something. They're gonna do something with this. This is gonna get really dark, really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And it does, and it's a payoff to an earlier gag with the film where Rory and Lydia go to say the Beetlejuice 3 times, and we get introduced to what's gonna definitely be a new toy or new kind of like set decoration prop from this movie, Baby Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it's been fan made at this point. I guarantee it. There's
Yeah.
absolutely going to be official versions.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I was gonna get.
It's gonna be a Spirit Halloween favorite.
Yeah, because they do have those living dead babies.
Yeah.
They're really fucking weird.
Yeah,
I think that they
really
do
weird
reissues.
looking.
See,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna get.
It's both really cute and really unsettling at
It's
the same
super
time.
macabre.
That baby.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna get. That's what I was gonna get into when they get into the dream sequence where Jenny Ortega's character gets pregnant.
Don't ask me if that's
and then-
actually real.
And then all
It's
of,
probably
and then
it's
all of
not,
a sudden,
I'm sure.
there's baby Beetlejuice. This was my reaction. I was going, huh? What? And then all of a sudden, boom! The movie ends after Beetlejuice is in bed with the Winona Ryder's character. And I was like, well, that was a weird ending.
Well, Beetlejuice is haunting her throughout the movie, especially
Yeah.
at the beginning. Now, and what I kind of like the line where when Lydia brings him back to help her, he's just like, "You've been stalking me for years and years," and it's like, "Oh yeah, I guess in ghost terms, he is actually kind of stalking her. He just keeps popping up." But yeah, I like to think that the two of them actually did really in spirit terms actually did get married, and they're actually living together. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the ending exactly means, but it's something.
Yeah.
I think that it's just he's still haunting her. I think that it leaves it open ended for a third one.
Yeah.
Where I think that the third one would be like the final exorcism of Beetlejuice.
Which honestly, I don't know what you could do with a third movie. Like, where can you
I'm
go
not
from
sure
there
either.
If you actually do a third movie.
Follow through on the Hawaii aspect.
You know what?
I mean, like,
if the
balls to the wall, man. Let's
you know what? If
go.
the third movie does go to Hawaii, I will watch it. If it doesn't,
I think it could.
I will be optimistic and say I hope it's as good as the second one. So
Yeah.
if there is going to be a third movie, we'll see.
Yeah. I'm sure that there will be talks about a third one being made, especially with how well this one is doing. So we'll see with that.
But
I think that's.
but this is where Dyllan, you give out your score for the movie.
Can we talk about how for a PG-13 movie, this has a lot of blood?
Yeah.
There's a lot of
I was gonna say-
legit blood in this.
I was going to say, okay, the original Beetlejuice, how in the world did it get a PG rating? That I will never understand because it should have been
a lot of
PG-13.
Well, it
Jaws.
was in the
Jaws
80s.
is PG.
Yeah, Ghostbusters
It's very
is
tame,
PG,
though,
but
compared to
Ghostbusters has a ghost
Beetlejuice,
blowjob in
honestly.
it. So
Wait, what is?
Jaws. Like,
No, it's not.
I watched Jaws for the first time and I loved it, and I was not as scared as a lot of people
Are
said.
you kidding me?
That's why I
The
loved the
bitten off
movie.
leg and like the dead body in the water. Jesus.
It didn't bother me that much.
And
I mean,
just for I think Jaws is still, to this day at my age, is still a terrifying movie. And for the fact that the Raiders of the Lost Ark with that scene at the end with the faces melting,
yeah,
that's PG. That would
Yeah.
today in this condition, that would be rated R. That would make that rated
Yeah.
R.
that scene didn't bother me that much either.
Really?
Like I said,
Okay.
it happens. But yeah, I didn't know there was anything else you want to say before Dyllan give out the score.
Yeah,
I
I
had
was
a
just
couple
talking about the
things,
blood.
but-
Like, yeah, there's deep red, vibrant blood. Like when the baby is like eating the nurses at the end. It's like,
Yeah.
It's
I
like
was
the
good
God.
blood squirt
Yeah.
that went up. Yeah,
Like,
That
this
was
is a
one of my,
bloody.
that
This
was
is a
one of my
bloody movie.
That was one of my
And
nitpicks on
even
that one.
especially when Dolores is sucking the souls out of people, like just turning them in like
yeah, they like shrivel
Yeah,
up into
shriveled up.
themselves. Their eyeballs pop.
yeah.
Super cool.
And it's probably just me, but I think the chicken kill was probably a little too much.
Oh, when they're
Well,
when they're getting
flashback,
married.
when they're eating the heads
Like, that
off
was
chickens.
just
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Eh.
But like I said,
I'm sure PETA's having a problem with it.
Oh yeah, big time, big time. They're making a
did
shitty
you guys,
video game
Did you guys
on it right
see?
now.
There was when Twisters came out. There was a video that surfaced online of like an early screening where some crazy PETA chick was really freaking out because of like one really minor like moment in the film where like an animal gets like hurt or killed by a tornado. It's like literally she was lunging at the cast like at Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Just insanity.
yeah. I've only seen like the clip following it where Glenn Powell's just like sitting there.
Yeah,
like,
he's
really?
like he's smiling. He's just like,
Yeah.
okay, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's like trying to keep his composure and shit, and
It's
just trying to like, this is gonna pass.
Yeah, just crazy people.
Yeah, I mean we're crazy people as well. What do you?
Not that
not that crazy.
Not that type
That's
of
true.
crazy.
Not that crazy. But
um,
yeah. What's your
Hold on, before I get to my score.
Okay, sure.
There were a couple things that I wanted to talk about. One, we never talked about the fact that Catherine Harrod died in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she got bit by
yeah,
a snake after she was like, "No, these asps were defanged. I paid more for that feature. This is gonna be fine." And then she's immediately dead.
And
She was wrong.
the
Yeah.
thing in this series now, I guess you can call it. I wouldn't would you call the franchise?
I
mean,
would.
There
It
is
has
the
two movies.
there's
It's got
the
the animated series and the Broadway show. So
I do actually. I never watched the animated series. I hear it's pretty good.
it is. It still holds up super well
I probably
today.
would like it more than the movie, probably.
Maybe.
It used to be completely up on YouTube, but I don't know if it
I don't
still
know.
is. I doubt it.
I'm gonna have to do a look at
I've seen the intro.
look it
The
up.
intro is freaking awesome.
It's great.
Um,
I genuinely love it.
But in this series, like death doesn't really mean that much. Like when a character dies, it's just like the characters themselves don't really matter because don't really get that too crazy about it. It's like I guess Lydia will see you at least.
Yeah.
It's like that's not really like a huge problem. And yeah, the stakes in these movies have never really been that high anyway.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, and that's
Uh,
part of the fun.
I will say we've kind of talked about how like it didn't really have like that bow on it
Mhm.
towards the end. Honestly, I didn't have a whole lot of gripes about it. One comment that I meant to make earlier was that I wasn't a big fan of the pacing of the movie.
Yeah, it
I
was
feel-
very fast.
Yeah, it was really fast. I feel like part of my issue with it was the Dolores bits where she
Mhm.
just didn't have a whole lot to do. They kind of just threw her in. I will say the resolution wasn't satisfying too
Mhm.
much for me.
Yeah,
I didn't like it wrapped up super fast. I just was not a fan of that. Honestly, I feel like if we were given like another like 5 to 10 minutes of screen time,
yeah.
it would have folded in super well.
And for me, who is so used to movies being like 2.5 hours now or longer,
Yeah.
especially nowadays where it just feels that way. For a movie to be like an hour and 45 minutes is like crazy fast.
Yeah.
But I agree. With the pacing was too quick, and things didn't really resolve in that satisfying of way. But I still had fun.
Yeah, no, I loved it
regardless.
through and through.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of like my only gripes. One other thing that I want to comment on really fast is also in that scene, also in the climax scene in the church. We mentioned earlier about how Justin Theroux's character is Lydia's boyfriend, proposes, they're going to get married. Well, they get married like 2 days later, or they're supposed to get married like 2 days later.
And even
It's
yeah,
it's at the
that's
church.
thing.
He invites like a bunch of influencers.
Yeah.
So they all have their phones up, and so when Beetlejuice comes in, and he's like, "Oh, you
we're
promised
getting
to marry
no
me."
privacy.
Yeah, he's like, and they all
they
like,
get their faces sucked in their phones.
Yeah, they turn their phones
that scene
around.
was so clever. I loved it.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was really cool. Not just as like a gag, but also one of the superstitions about photos is that it like captures your soul, your essence. So you're
Yeah.
permanently imprisoned in that photo. Like that's it. They never saved those people afterwards. So I thought that was just
Unless-
a neat little touch.
Unless those people like go to somewhere in this afterlife world, I don't know.
They have a therapy app. They just like
Yeah.
check it out.
Yeah.
They've got the time.
You're right. We never did see those people again. So those
Nope.
people are stuck there.
Well, I mean, same as I don't think that we ever saw what happened to the escaped shrunken heads.
It's got what that kind of reminds me of though is like, I mean, there's a few movies where that kind of thing happens. Willy Wonka, like the fact that we never see those kids when they disappear in the chocolate factory.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
true.
those kids are dead. Like Willy Wonka is a child killer.
That sounds like from
It's
the
pretty
arcade.
fucking
That
dark,
sounds
dude.
like from the arcade game when they were saying, "You are dead, dead."
Resident Evil.
No, that wasn't.
I think
it.
that's kinda
well,
fun.
whatever.
no,
it
no.
was.
I mean, it happened in arcades, but Resident Evil was like the first like at-home version of You Are Dead.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. But anyway,
No, I did really like it. Honestly, I was.
Yeah.
I go into movies to be entertained and to
Especially
just enjoy them in general.
with this kind of movie. And really the thing I've been starved of from Tim Burton for a long time is just a actual like fun movie.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't really done that in a long time. And for me, this movie gave me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want either two things. Tim Burton is usually giving me one of two things: either a movie that's really just super goofy and fun, like Beetlejuice or Pee-wee's Big Adventure, or something that can be really dark and atmospheric, like Sleepy Hollow
Yeah, yeah.
or Sweeney Todd, which I love both of those kinds of styles of movies that he's done.
Yeah,
I love,
same.
I love, yeah, I love Sweeney Todd. I love Pee-wee's Big Adventure for different reasons. But yeah,
I fully agree. I think that they're really fun. I think that this was a great change in pace for Tim Burton's directing.
you can definitely tell
career.
he was much more passionate about making a movie than he has been in a while.
Yes,
like you can
fully
definitely
agreed.
tell you can definitely tell behind the camera he was having a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He like we said at the beginning of this, like he fully delivered. He like stepped right back into pace. Like it's just like this
Yep.
is his cream and butter.
Yeah, and it's actually,
And hopefully this gets him back on the right track, and hopefully he wants to do more movies again like
Yeah.
this. And
yeah, it's actually my fourth favorite Tim Burton movie, just behind Batman '89, Batman Returns, and Frankenweenie.
my
Okay, yeah.
favorite Burton movie is my top 5. I would say my favorite is still his first movie, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Number 2, probably Ed Wood, which
Okay.
is the biopic.
I need to watch that too.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's a movie about movie making.
Yep. It was I consider it the predecessor to The Disaster Artist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very very similar those two.
It's one of the only ones I haven't seen.
Number 3, number 3 would probably be Beetlejuice, the original. Number 4, probably be. It's so hard. I love so much of Tim Burton stuff. Edward Scissorhands probably be number 4. Number 5 probably be Sweeney Todd.
Oh yeah, Sweetie Todd the musical.
Yep, probably easily his darkest and most violent movie by far. That if you don't count Sleepy Hollow.
That was another weird one for me, but
Yeah,
I think if I had to rank them, or my favorites,
your top 5.
yeah. I think that if I had to, I would do one being Corpse Bride. I'm not going to say Nightmare Before Christmas because he didn't direct
that.
Yeah, he just inspired it and did a little
Even though his
production work.
name is all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally him.
Tim Burton's. Yeah. Love Henry Selick. Coraline's great.
Absolutely.
I think Corpse Bride would be number 1. I think number 2 would probably be fuck, dude. Number 2 would be Sleepy Hollow. Number 3 would be Beetlejuice. Number 4 is Edward Scissorhands. Number 5, Sweeney Todd.
Oh wow.
I'm same boat as Garrett. I fucking love it. It's
Yeah.
so good.
And I'd say that he's made exactly 20 films now. Like
I believe
yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
I would say this is in top 10. Beetlejuice.
Yes,
Beetlejuice
agreed.
2.
Yeah.
Definitely the best thing he's made in quite a bit.
Yeah, this would probably be like 6 or 7 for me.
Yeah.
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 So for Beetlejuice, is your score of the movie sort of the same as mine, where I gave a 9.5, or?
I think that if the first movie was a 9 out of 10, this would be an 8 or an 8.5 for me.
Okay.
Because I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. Like my couple issues aside,
Right.
I think that there was a lot to this that just absolutely works.
Yeah.
The set design was amazing. The character design was brilliant. I like we've been talking a lot about the gags in it, and the gags really help make the movie what it's
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just a really, really solid movie. I still think that the original one is better. I still like that one more. So that's the reason why it's about half star to a star down.
When I grade movies like we do, I have to consider how I grade them, because I have to grade in 2 ways. One being like objectively, like the technical aspects, the writing, how it's put together and all that stuff. And the other way being like how much, like on enjoyment level. And really I should grade, like have 2 grades for each movie that I do.
Yeah.
So like
the
when I grade
subjective
when I
and
grade
objective.
my like overall grade is like how it combined the two of them.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like overall grade, like I would probably go up 6 or 7. Like would probably be my like how is this like objectively like on technical wavelength, like, but overall like I would say like my enjoyment level would be like an 8.
Yeah.
So
like 7.5 would probably be the
7.5,
average. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. So there you go. We recommend you watch Beetlejuice. It's very fun.
The
Yeah, I
juice
love
is
that.
loose.
Yeah.
See you, fucker.
Yeah.
That seriously has got to be one of my favorite fucking deliveries in the entire movie. It's
like
so good.
PG-13 F-bombs too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. They really had to pick them wisely, and they picked it wisely.
It's not on the level of nice fucking model.
Yeah.
that is the fact that was
We both said it at the same time. Yay!
the fact
Right,
that was
bud.
improvised too by Keaton, like on the moment, it makes it one of the all-time great F-bombs. Also the one in Guardians 3 with just because of like it's
Open
the first
fucking door.
Open the fucking door. Just because of like the first one in an MCU movie too. And I wish that clip didn't come out before the movie did. Like it would have made that moment pop so much more.
I managed to miss it. I knew that there was something about the door, but that was
Matthew
it.
showed that clip to me before, like weeks before the movie came. I was like, I wish I could have saw that.
He's got
Or
earbuds
I
on.
wish-
We'll yell at him later.
Yeah. Damn it. Fuck.
You fucker!
See you, fucker.
And with that being said, if there's anybody else I want to say before we sign off.
I'm
That's
good.
it.
That's it.
Those are all my thoughts.
Yeah. So
if I
thank
find
you so
something else
much for
later.
watching. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Threads, on Twitter for more great content. Tell us your thoughts on the sequel. If you loved it, if you actually didn't like it, let's keep it respectable in the comment section, please.
Yes.
We got some more newer movies and new content coming to you very, very soon. And we're almost to the New Year's, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's
And
Again,
we're looking forward to
In 2 weeks, it's gonna be Christmas.
yeah, and we're looking forward to newer movies that's gonna be coming up for award seasons. Which there are some big.
Oh,
movies
there's
that
gonna be a
could in
lot.
Big awards
I'm gonna be
contenders.
talking about it a lot because that's my bread and butter.
Yeah, because personally for me, I personally think that Doom Part 2 and Inside Out 2, that's going to be big award contenders for these two, honestly. But there's going to be more new awards coming out very soon.
My top 10 is gonna be changing a lot in the next few months.
Yep,
I know
absolutely.
that for sure.
So we hope you guys had fun, and all we can say is God bless. And the rule is don't say Beetlejuice 3 times, or otherwise he'll come out of your computer.
Beetlejuice,
Like-
Beetlejuice.
Oh, wouldn't that be a funny? Wouldn't that be a funny gag on the Ring like TV thing? It like if Beetlejuice was to do that same thing, it's like that'd be funny.
That will be fun.
But anyway,
Have a
see you,
great week.
fuckers.
Yeah, have a great week. See you
See you
next
guys.
time.
We have been the Cinema Asylum Podcast. You guys were awesome. Thanks for coming out. Good night.